You're 24 and you just inherited $40 million. But there's one catch. You can't touch a single dollar of it for 10 years. And if you can't prove you're broke every single day until then, you lose everything. Not one wire, not one withdrawal, not one dinner paid for with real money. The will has a clause your grandfather wrote himself. You must live on $35,000 a year, on paper, provably, for a full decade, or the entire trust dissolves. You laugh at first, because it sounds like a movie. Then the lawyer slides you a folder of what provable poverty actually means, and you stop laughing. This isn't hiding wealth. This is the opposite. This is proving for 3,650 days that you don't have any, while $40 million sits 11 feet away in an account you're not allowed to open. Rule 1. The income ceiling. The first rule breaks you before you even understand it. The trust caps your provable annual income at $35,000, which means the promotion your manager offers you in month 4, an extra $18,000 a year and a title you actually earned, becomes a threat instead of a win. You have to sabotage it on purpose. You miss 2 deadlines you'd normally never miss. You give a mediocre answer in the review meeting you know you could have nailed. Your manager looks disappointed, tells you maybe next year, and you go to your car afterwards and sit in the parking lot for 11 minutes, furious at yourself for destroying something you actually wanted. You've read the clause enough times to have it memorized. Any provable income over the threshold in a single tax year voids the trust permanently. The trust doesn't care why you earned more, only that you did. Rule 2. The fake trail. 8 months in, a molar on your lower left side starts throbbing at 2 a.m., the kind of pain that doesn't wait for office hours. A private dentist could fix it same day for $340. You can't pay that in a way that leaves a clean paper trail. So at 4:40 in the morning, you're standing in line outside a county clinic with 11 other people, waiting for a walk-in slot that opens at 7. You sit there for 3 hours with a jaw that feels like it's on fire, holding a folder with $40 million behind it, unable to spend $340 of it on yourself without risking everything. Rule 3. The phantom tax trap. The trust generates real interest, close to $2.1 million a year. The money is moving in the background, hidden in accounts that don't have your name on them. Then a postal error happens. A tax statement showing $780,000 owed gets delivered to your actual apartment instead of the trust's mailing address. Your roommate is home. You intercept it at the door, tell her it's a wrong delivery, and burn it over the kitchen sink the second she leaves for work, hands shaking, because one photograph of that page on the wrong phone ends everything you've spent 3 years protecting. Rule 4. The Philanthropy Loophole. Your closest friend, Priya, calls you crying about $6,400 in medical debt she can't cover, on the edge of bankruptcy. You cannot wire it. Not $1, not from you. So over 2 weeks you build something instead. 3 separate LLCs, none linked to the trust, funneling into a fake community hardship grant that lands in her account looking like a stroke of luck from a non-profit she's never heard of. She calls you sobbing with relief, thanking a stranger who doesn't exist, sitting 3 feet away from the actual person who built the entire structure just to save her. You let her keep thanking the wrong person for 11 minutes on the phone, because correcting her would cost you everything. And some nights, that trade doesn't feel like generosity at all. It feels like the loneliest kind of lie you've ever told someone you love. Rule 5. The dating filter. It's one thing to lie to a friend to save them. It's another to realize the lie is also sabotaging your chance at ever finding someone who actually knows the real you. You go on a second date with someone you actually like. And it ends over a $34 dinner bill split down to the cent. He tells you, kindly but honestly, that he needs someone with more direction, someone not stuck in a dead-end $35,000 a year job. You don't correct him. You can't. You drive home understanding for the first time clearly that the rule protecting your $40 million is the same rule making sure nobody who could ever really know you sticks around long enough to try. Rule 6. The nervous system toll. By year 5, the exhaustion isn't financial anymore. It's physical. A single Uber Black booked by accident, one branded t-shirt in a photo, one $6 latte at the wrong coffee shop with the wrong person watching, any of it could be read as evidence. Your body starts treating ordinary purchases like threats. Your hands go cold in checkout lines. You've read that constant low-grade vigilance changes a nervous system permanently, and some mornings you believe it, lying awake at 5 a.m. doing math on a life you're not allowed to spend.
Money proving you have. You start flinching at your own reflection in store windows, checking what you're wearing the way other people check the weather. Rule 7. The audit. Once a year, without warning, a trustee's attorney shows up at your apartment to verify you're still living the part. He doesn't look at your bank statements. He looks at the dirt on the soles of your shoes. He checks the expiration dates on the half-empty generic milk in your fridge. He flips through a stack of crumpled grocery receipts on your counter. You stand in your own kitchen and answer questions like a suspect, because the only way to keep $40 million is to convincingly, physically, provably not have it. He writes something in his notebook after checking your receipts, closes the folder, thanks you for your time, and leaves you standing in your own kitchen feeling like a stranger just searched your entire life and found nothing worth reporting, which, this year, is the best possible outcome. Rule 8. The reflex you have to fight. At a group dinner in year 7, the bill lands at $410, and your instinct, the old instinct, the one from before any of this, is to grab it, split it evenly, pay for the friend who's clearly short this month. You catch yourself 2 seconds before your hand reaches your card. Instead, you argue over your exact $34 share in front of 6 people who've known you for years, watching you turn cheap over pocket change while $40 million sits untouched an hour away. Somewhere around here, you carry a second object everywhere, a cracked screen phone with no SIM card, Wi-Fi only, kept in a drawer, taken out once a month at a hardware store's free Wi-Fi signal for the 30 seconds it takes to confirm the number is still real. Stop. Think about that. You're a multi-millionaire standing in the back of a Home Depot just to use their free Wi-Fi. This isn't a game anymore. It's your life. Rule 9. Year 9, day 364. With 1 day left on the 10-year clock, sitting in the same cracked phone glow you've used for years, something shifts that nobody warned you about. You realize you don't actually need the money anymore. Somewhere in 9 years of provable, careful, exhausting poverty, you built a version of quiet you were never looking for, and the $40 million waiting on the other side of midnight doesn't feel like freedom. It feels like the one thing that could take this particular piece away from you. You sit with that thought longer than you expect to, turning the cracked phone over in your hand, aware that in less than 24 hours, you'll never need to walk into a hardware store for its Wi-Fi again, and some small, unreasonable part of you already misses the 30 seconds that used to be entirely yours. Rule 10. The trust releases. At 12:01 a.m., the trust unlocks, and $40 million lands in an account with your actual name on it for the first time in your adult life. You sit at your kitchen table with the notification lit up on your screen, and you don't smile the way you thought you would at 24. You think about the promotion you sabotaged, the dentist's line at 4:40 a.m., the second date that ended over $34, the friend who still doesn't know your name is on the grant that saved her.
Your grandfather built this test to see if money would change you. What he never told you, what nobody could have told you, is that the test itself already had.